Hey there, gorgeous people. Are you ready to rock a luxury hairdo that will give you unlimited options and make you the center of attention? In today's video, I'm going to reveal the ultimate guide to Vixen sew-ins, the best hair weave technique out there. So buckle up and get ready to transform your look, because I'm about to spill all of the tea on how to achieve that flawless Vixen sew-in that will make heads turn wherever you go. Don't forget to grab a pen and some paper because you'll want to take notes. Let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back. It's Kayla, your favorite beauty blogger, and we are here with Private Label today. Can I do your Vixen sew-in, girl, the right way? Oh my gosh. Do you ladies remember when the Vixen sew-in became popular? I remember my best friend sending me a video on Facebook showing me how to do the Vixen sew-in from beginning to end. I was so intrigued by this hairstyle that I had to learn how to do it. I practiced on my mannequin, I practiced on my best friend for countless hours, but I wasn't pleased with the outcome. I had an issue with the leave out. So guess what? I went to YouTube University. Every stylist I came across, they would say, when it comes to the leave out, you have to have the eye. Really? It bothered me that I couldn't figure it out. So I practiced and I practiced until I got it right. And finally, I did. So today is your lucky day. I will be the article YouTuber who explains everything to you that you need to know about the Vixen sew-in, which I consider a luxury hairdo. Why? Because this style is unique and not everyone can do it correctly. Hence the title of this video. This method gives you options that every female craves in a sew-in. So if you want to put your hair in a ponytail without any visible lumps, have a messy bun that still looks cute, or wear a left or a right side part on the same day, you can, because baby, with the Vixen sew-in, you have options. So put the kitties and your babe to bed, grab your snack of choice, put your phone on silent, and grab a pen and paper, because I'm about to speak facts. So what exactly is a Vixen sew-in? A Vixen sew-in is a bomb four-parted method that became popular many years ago. Okay, so let's take a look at this diagram. In the diagram, the gray area is the leave out, and the darker area is the braids braided in a beehive, which is a circular motion. The hair that's left out is just as important as the hair braided, because the hair that we leave out has to cover the sew-in extensions, and the braids have to be small and as close as possible. With this method, you can switch to several different hairstyles without worrying about the weft showing. Honestly, everything has to be on point for the Vixen sew-in to look natural. Okay, so let's get into the supplies that we need for our Vixen sew-in. First, we're gonna need a rat tail comb for parting the hair. We need a curved or straight needle and thread. We need a hairnet if your client wants one. We need the best hair extensions that fit your budget, of course. We're gonna need some bomb edge control to tame those edges. Before I start any client, the hair must be clean. I also go the extra mile and I trim their ends if needed, free of charge. Believe it or not, going the extra mile goes a super long way. Next, I make sure I grease the scalp with the stimulating hair oil. This oil is gonna promote hair growth, which we love. Now that you have all the items, let's get to work. How exactly do we do a Vixen sew-in? We're gonna go step by step. I must say this before we start. Please be patient. You may not get it on the first try, and that's okay. And if you need clarity on anything, please leave a comment down below and I will be sure to answer all of your questions. All right, are you ready? Okay, let's get to it. So first, we're gonna part the hair into 4 sections. We wanna make sure that we leave out enough hair around the head's perimeter. I would say about 1 inch is great. Also, leave out the middle and vertical cross sections of the hair. You're gonna braid or twist all leave out to keep them away from each section. Start to braid down each section. Make sure that the braids are small and neat. Suggest a hairnet to the client. Some clients actually don't like to use a hairnet because they aren't sure why it's needed. You want to explain to them that the hairnet allows for a more seamless, durable, and a longer lasting install. Now we're going to prepare the hair. Gather all of your curved or straight needles. I suggest you prep about 10 needles with thread to keep the ball rolling. When I prep my needles, I make the thread as long as possible because if you make them short, you'll find yourself making more needles, making the process much longer. And just a few reminders. Make sure the scalp is oiled and all of the hair that's being left out is braided or twisted out of the way before you start the sewing. Before braiding the remainder of the hair, I would check each section to make sure that I left enough leave out to cover the wefts. We don't want any tracks showing. Sewing it down. You want to begin sewing the hair extensions in, starting in the top right section. Starting on the top right-hand side, you want to ensure you're sewing under the braid until you reach the left side to do the fold-over method. The fold-over method is one of the most crucial parts of the sewing. If not done correctly, you will not be able to have that sleek ponytail that we love. When you're close to being done with the left side, you want to continue to go up and then fold over the weft. Once it's folded, you sew under and on top of the weft to ensure it's flat and super flawless. Just a tip, if your weft is thick, it's okay to split the weft. Doing this will actually make it super easy to sew the weft down. Yes, you can thank me later. Now, let's back up for just a moment. I remember when I was learning how to do the Vixen sewing, and I watched so many stylists use different techniques to sew each section down. I always wondered if there was an easier way to get this done. So here's another tip for you guys. Instead of doing each section, you can and should actually sew down the hair as if you're doing a traditional sewing. You just have to remember one thing. Please make sure to make a knot at the end of each section. If you don't make a knot, your Vixen will unravel and you will cry real tears. Trust me, I've done it. So you start your sewing on the right-hand side. Once you get to the end of that first section, you want to make a knot and so on and so forth. Now, for blending the hair, this is the moment of truth. You want to unbraid all of the leave out around the perimeter of the head and the cross sections. Before styling, I would double check each section to make sure I left out enough leave out to cover the weft. For whatever reason, if you see that you didn't leave out enough hair, I would just say to be honest with your client. That way she would know how to style her hair and she will respect you more for being honest. Then, once you see everything looks spectacular, you and your client can speak about styling. In my opinion, styling is the best part of the process. Styling is the moment that you see your vision come to life. With the Vixen sewing, it doesn't matter what length, what texture, or color you're rocking. You have the beauty of options. We love options. Now, did I mention that styling is my favorite part of the process? I love a remarkable transformation, especially with the Vixen sewing. It is the perfect mix of versatility and chic. Now, let's dive into some styles that you could wear with your Vixen sewing. So first, 2 cornrows go into the back, left or right side part, a realistic ponytail, sleek middle part, a messy bun, half up, half down. This sewing is literally unlimited. And if you like to change your hairstyle every day, this is the perfect way to go. Now, let's talk about the best Vixen sewing braiding patterns. Did you know that there are other braiding patterns similar to the Vixen sewing? We discussed the 4-part sewing method. Now, let's talk about the 2 and the 3-part sewing. You have minimum options for the 2 and the 3-part sewing, but depending on your style of choice, you can rock it any way you choose. So the 2-section braid sewing method. Please refer to the diagram above. Now, if a client comes to you and she asks for the 2-part Vixen, I would guess that she's trying to save some time, or maybe she desires a more low maintenance install. With this sewing, although it has the least versatility, you can still style it in 2 cornrows and a cute bun. Here are the tools that you'll need: a rat tail comb for parting the hair, a curve or straight needle and thread, a hairnet if your client desires, Private Label's hair extensions in an array of textures and lengths, Private Label's edge control to tame those edges. Okay, now let's get into the step-by-step process. So first, you want to section and part the hair down the middle. Make sure you leave out enough hair around the perimeter of the head and leave out for the middle sections as well. Twist or braid the leave out the way. You want to start to braid down each section. Make sure that the braids are neat and small. Suggest a hairnet to your client. Prep all of your needles and thread to make the process move faster, at least 10 needles. When you're sewing down the hair, you do the same thing as you do for the 4-part Vixen sewing. You want to start from the right and make sure you're knotting the thread once the section is complete. Once you get to the left side to do the fold over method, make sure you go up a bit. Fold over and sew underneath the braid. and then you sew over the weft. When it's time to remove the unwanted thread, please be careful not to cut your knot. I've done this several times, especially when I'm moving too fast. So make sure you take your time. Now let's get into the 3-section Vixen sewing. Please refer to the diagram. The 3-part Vixen sewing is also super duper simple, but you can do just a little more styling wise than with the 2-section Vixen. So with this particular pattern, if a client comes in for this, her hair will be sectioned for a middle part as well as a half up, half down. So she can do a center part, 2 cornrows, as well as a left or a side part. Here are the tools that we need for our 3-section Vixen sewing. Of course, we're gonna need a rat tail comb for parting and sectioning the hair, a curved or straight sewing needle, a nylon thread, a hairnet if our client chooses she wants one, hair extensions, you wanna choose the right length and style, edge control because we need to tame those edges. Now, let's get into the step-by-step process for the 3-part Vixen sewing. So first, we want to part the hair down the middle. Make sure that you leave out enough hair around the perimeter of the head and the hair for the middle section as well as the cross sections. Twist or braid that leave out of the way. Now we can begin to start braiding down each section. Remember, we want to make sure that the braids are neat and small. Now, let's get into the Vixen sewing with short hair. Yes, short hair beauties, this is for you. Yes, you too can have the Vixen sewing. So with hair extensions, anything is possible. I suggest going to someone highly experienced for this install. So I've also seen women glue wefts in instead of sewing them in. So you will have to leave out a little more than usual if you have shorter hair. For the Vixen to appear more natural, the stylist will focus more on the extensions going towards the client's face. Once they begin sewing the hair down, the weft will be placed more going towards the front of the face than going behind the curve of the braid. I hope that makes sense. By doing this, the hair will appear more full and voluptuous. So enjoy long hair vibes and the styling versatility. Now, the Vixen sewing style for natural hair. As I stated, the Vixen sewing is for everyone, and it doesn't matter if you're a relaxed beauty or if you're a natural beauty. When it comes to the flawless sewing install, you must ensure that you find the right texture for your natural hair. For example, one of my clients, Sam, she's a natural babe, and she always wears a silk prep. So for this very reason, I recommended the Vietnamese hair extensions from Private Label Extensions for well-blended sewing install. The Vietnamese hair extensions, it comes in straight and a natural looking wavy pattern. It's full from root to tip and it's highly textured, mimicking a silk prep. Once the extensions were in, the blend was perfect. The texture of the Vietnamese hair extensions, it works so well with Sam's texture. Now, if you're a natural beauty whose hair pattern has a tighter curl or a looser curl and you don't want to apply any heat to your natural hair, don't you worry, Private Label Extensions can assist you with that as well. Is a Vixen sewing right for you? Let's decide. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of a Vixen sewing. Let's discuss the cons of a Vixen sewing first. If the braiding pattern isn't small enough, the fold over method won't be flat. And if there isn't enough leave out, this can also ruin the Vixen sewing. But that won't happen to you because, girl, you have social media and this video to refer back to if you get stuck. Now for the pros of the Vixen sewing. Oh my gosh, there are so many pros to this hairstyle. I'm trying to tell you guys. As I said before, this sewing is for women who crave options, baby, which we all do, be real. Wearing your hair in different styles will keep you the topic of conversation and draw people to you to want to converse with you. And all you have to do is show your teeth and swing your hair from left to right because you are indeed that girl. Before I go, I want to leave behind my reminders. Make sure that the hair is clean and the edges are controlled by Private Label's Edge Control. Then check your leave out or your scalp and ensure that the hair extensions are sewn in correctly. And that is all I have for you beauties. So until next time, my queens, if you should have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And I hope you have a fabulous day. I thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.